Welcome to Dr. Fred Markets. This is not financial advice. Every day, billions of dollars move across markets that most people don't even know exist. Crypto, stocks, AI, the signals are there if you know where to look. And that's exactly what we do here. Let's dive in.
War threats just handed boring little water stocks a stealth bull market. U.S. housing just got a landmark law, while Iran and Trump scream revenge, and everyone's staring at headlines instead of the pipes under their feet. S&P 500 inches up 0.4%, Nvidia rips 4%, so tourists say soft landing baby and go back to day trading AI. Bitcoin chills at 64K, Ethereum at 1.8, proving the crowd is numb to risk, while politicians LARP World War III on Twitter. Here's the signal you're missing. Water is already trading like oil did in the 70s. Global water demand is set to exceed supply by up to 40% by 2030. Yet the entire listed water utility sector still trades like a sleepy bond proxy with 3 to 4% yields. Meanwhile, water-rich regions inside the US are quietly weaponizing their taps. New housing rules, zoning issues, and infrastructure upgrades are really code for, if you want growth, you pay the water mafia. Second signal, housing policy is now a macro weapon, not a domestic fix. This landmark US housing law, everyone thinks it's about affordability. Cute. In reality, more housing equals more pipes, more treatment plants, more desalination experiments, more federal cash sluiced into the companies that move H2O from river to toilet to tap. Politicians print affordable homes. Water utilities print regulated, inflation-linked cash flows for the next 30 years. Third signal, rising geopolitical heat throws gasoline on water scarcity. Iran's supreme leader promises revenge. Trump blusters back. Oil traders twitch. But wars and sanctions don't just choke oil and gas. They wreck irrigation systems, contaminate drinking water, slam migration flows, and overrun already strained water grids in safe countries that take basic infrastructure for granted. Governments can fake growth with stimulus. They cannot fake water when millions of new people show up in Phoenix and Vegas with lawns and swimming pools. Here's the cliffhanger. The market still prices water like a sleepy utility just as it starts behaving like a leveraged geopolitical asset. Put these three together, and the pattern is brutal. Housing policy boosts demand for water infrastructure. Geopolitical tension and climate pressure squeeze supply and reliability. And your average investor is still arguing about Nvidia's next quarter, while missing companies that literally invoice entire cities every month and cannot be disrupted by a phone app. You learned in school that water is a basic human right. In markets, water is a cash flow contract enforced by a shutoff valve. The mechanism works like this. Utilities and water infrastructure firms operate regional monopolies. Governments guarantee their existence, then let them raise prices modestly to cover investment in pipes, filtration, and treatment. Those modest hikes compound over decades, usually above operating costs and often loosely tied to inflation. Add housing expansion, and regulators simply sign off on more capex, more rate base, more allowed returns. So while you cheer cheap mortgages, the silent winner is the entity billing every new apartment for water, sewer, and hookup fees monthly, forever.
Does what you just heard shift something for you? That feeling, that need to know more, is exactly the right reaction. Most people never get there. You just did. Let's keep going.
This is why water becomes the stealth defense stock. When Iran and the US posture, oil spikes, then crashes. Water doesn't crash. People still flush toilets in recessions. They still shower during wars. Even if Bitcoin halves, Ethereum forks, and AI eats half the job market, the local utility still sends the bill, and people still pay it before they pay Visa. Concrete thing you didn't know. The global listed water value chain, utilities, treatment, pipes, meters, leak detection, is roughly the size of one big tech darling. Yet it quietly controls the only resource every government will prioritize over GDP and ideology. They let your portfolio blow up. They do not let the taps run dry. This is not financial advice. This is triage. Action step for adults. Look up global water-focused ETFs or indices and read the top 10 holdings. Notice how many are boring regional monopolies with steady cash flows. Second, compare their 10-year total return to your safe bond fund and your national index. The gap will punch you in the face. Third, whenever you hear housing stimulus or infrastructure bill, translate it into water infrastructure backlog cleared and watch those names instead of doom-scrolling threats from old men yelling across oceans. Your takeaway: 1. Water is no longer a gentle ESG story. It's weaponized infrastructure with monopoly cash flows. 2. Housing laws and geopolitical noise both funnel money into the same choke points: pipes, treatment, and distribution. 3. While everyone worships AI and crypto, the real quiet compounders are billing you for every shower you take. This is not financial advice, but if your portfolio has zero exposure to the one utility humans cannot substitute, that's not risk-averse. That's just denial. Subscribe if you want the trade behind the headline, not the hysterics. Tomorrow, we go after a different sacred cow. And since you stayed this long, I'll give you a hint about tomorrow's sacred cow, because it connects directly to this water story. Follow the money from your tap to your tax bill. The same municipalities that are desperate to fund water upgrades are also sitting on another crumbling asset: transportation. Roads, bridges, tunnels, ports, even the parking decks you ignore until they collapse on the local news. Politicians can't print engineers, they can't print concrete, so they do the only thing they can: they securitize tomorrow's user fees to plug today's budget holes. Tolls, congestion charges, infrastructure partnerships that sound boring until you realize they're just water utilities with asphalt. If you understood this episode, you're already ahead of 90% of the market because you've stopped asking, what's the hot sector, and started asking, where are the non-discretionary cash registers? Tomorrow, we're going to kick one of Wall Street's most beloved narratives in the teeth using that exact question. See you then. This is not financial advice. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to the channel and check the links in the first comment below.
That's it for today on Dr. Fred Markets. I hope this gave you clarity and a new perspective. Remember, this is not financial advice. Always do your own research. If you found this useful, subscribe. It's free and it helps the channel grow. Find me on the blog at drfredmarkets.com and join the newsletter via the link in bio. I'm Dr. Fred Markets. See you in the next one.